Welcome to our deep dive, and today we're looking into Botrocetin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a protein that is found in viper venom,
Okay.
and you're interested in learning more about, kind of what it is and how it can impact blood clotting.
Right.
It's really interesting because it's something that's so dangerous,
Mm.
but it can actually maybe have some medical breakthroughs down the line.
Yeah.
Kind of like botulinum toxin,
Right.
that's deadly on its own, but then it's like a key ingredient in Botox.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great comparison. That line between toxin and therapy can be surprisingly thin.
Yeah.
And botrocetin is definitely another one of those kind of examples of nature offering us these paradoxes.
It really makes you wonder what other secrets are out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it before, like lovastatin from fungus helps lower cholesterol.
Right.
Metformin, which has roots in the French lilac,
Huh.
is used in diabetes care.
Okay.
And even ivermectin, which is used to treat parasitic infections, comes from a soil-dwelling bacterium.
Wow, nature really is this incredible treasure trove of chemical diversity.
Yeah.
And like you said, we've only just begun to kind of explore it.
Okay, so let's get into botrocetin.
Okay.
So it's a protein
Yeah.
found in the venom of certain viper species, and it affects blood clotting, but not in the way you might think.
Exactly. Yeah. Unlike some venom components that prevent clotting,
Right.
botrocetin actually accelerates it. So it acts as what we call a potent platelet aggregator.
Huh.
So it forces these platelets to clump together and it creates these abnormal clots.
So it's like it puts the body's natural clotting system into overdrive.
Yes, a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And this disruptive behavior, that's what makes botrocetin so fascinating, but also, potentially dangerous.
So how does it even work? What is the mechanism?
Yeah, so the key really lies in its interaction with what's called the von Willebrand factor, which is a protein that's super crucial for platelet adhesion, that initial step in the clotting process.
Right.
Botrocetin binds to this factor, and it causes these platelets to basically clump together uncontrollably.
So it's like it hijacks the body's clotting cascade.
Exactly.
But then how does this help us understand the normal clotting process?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Scientists use botrocetin as what we call a hemostatic probe.
Okay.
So by studying how it interacts with the von Willebrand factor, and it disrupts that whole coagulation cascade, they can actually better understand how our blood clots normally.
So it's kind of like a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
To zoom in on this essential process.
Exactly. And understanding these intricacies, it's not just a thought experiment for scientists. It can lead to some real-world medical breakthroughs.
Oh, so you're talking about new medications.
Yeah.
So if we understand how botrocetin accelerates clotting,
Right.
could we use that to develop drugs that prevent it?
Precisely. So researchers are exploring how botrocetin's mechanism could actually inspire the design of new anticoagulant drugs.
Okay.
These are drugs that prevent those harmful blood clots. So this could be really, really significant for people who are at risk of stroke, heart attack, or even something like deep vein thrombosis.
Wow. So this viper venom protein could lead to life-saving treatments.
It really is it's the perfect example of how these toxins in nature can point us in the direction of new therapies.
It's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because we always think of venom as oh, I got to get away from that.
Right.
Not something that can help us.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about it. It challenges our assumptions about venom.
Right.
And it really highlights how interconnected nature and human health are.
So while this all might seem kind of like sci-fi movie stuff,
Right.
understanding this viper venom protein could really lead to some major benefits for people who struggle with, blood clotting disorders.
Absolutely. This is a great example of how basic research, even on topics that might seem kind of obscure, can have these really major impacts.
This deep dive is already full of surprises.
Yeah.
We've gone from viper venom to how complex blood clotting is.
Right.
And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
But before we really get into how botrocetin could be used, I want to take a step back and look at how nature has, inspired medical innovations before, like penicillin.
Oh, yeah.
Which completely changed how we treat bacterial infections.
Right.
Or aspirin, which we've been using for centuries to relieve pain and fever.
Those are excellent examples. Both penicillin derived from mold and aspirin, originally from willow bark, show how nature provides us with these amazing therapeutic agents.
Yeah.
And just like botrocetin is helping us understand blood clotting,
Right.
research into other venoms and toxins is leading to some really exciting new discoveries and treatments.
I'm curious, what other examples come to mind?
Well, one that immediately comes to mind is exenatide,
Oh, yeah.
which is a drug that's used to treat type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
And it was actually developed from a protein that's found in the saliva of the Gila monster, which is a venomous lizard.
Oh, wow. A venomous lizard.
Yeah.
And how does that work?
So exenatide basically mimics the action of a hormone that occurs naturally called GLP-1, and that helps regulate our blood sugar levels.
Ah.
So it stimulates insulin release when blood sugar is high, and it slows gastric emptying, which further helps control blood sugar.
So this venom component from a lizard
Yeah.
is actually helping people manage their diabetes.
It is, and it's a reminder that nature often holds the solutions to these really difficult medical challenges in the most unexpected places.
It really does make you wonder, what else is out there?
Absolutely. It highlights how important it is to study and understand nature.
Yeah.
Even the things that might seem kind of dangerous or unpleasant at first.
Right.
Because we never know what therapeutic gems are out there waiting to be discovered.
It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
But let's get back to Botrocetin.
Okay.
And this, kind of unique ability to manipulate this whole clotting cascade.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it acts as a hemostatic probe, but can you kind of unpack that a bit further for us?
Yeah, sure. Think of a probe as like a tool that allows scientists to kind of poke and prod a specific system to see how it responds. So in the case of Botrocetin, it's a way to kind of selectively activate a specific part of that clotting cascade, which is that interaction with the von Willebrand factor, and then just observe those downstream effects.
So it's like a controlled experiment.
Yeah.
Where Botrocetin is that trigger that sets everything in motion.
Exactly. And by carefully manipulating the conditions, they can really tease apart the different steps involved, identify the key players, and ultimately gain a much deeper understanding of how this whole system works.
That makes sense, but why even go to all this trouble?
Yeah.
Why not just study the normal clotting process directly?
Well, studying a complex system like blood clotting, it can be like trying to understand how a clock works by looking at all the gears turning at once. It's overwhelming, and it's really hard to isolate those individual parts.
So using Botrocetin is kind of like being able to stop the clock.
Yeah.
Look at each gear, one by one, and then figure out how it works with the whole thing.
Exactly. A perfect analogy. It allows for a much more targeted approach to study this whole complex biological process.
This is shedding a lot of light on how research even works. It's really interesting to see how something that's dangerous, like viper venom, can be used to unlock these secrets of our own biology.
It's a powerful reminder that science is often about finding these creative and kind of unexpected ways to study the world around us.
And those unexpected discoveries can lead to huge advancements in medicine.
Exactly.
And just beyond.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive on Botrocetin.
So we left off talking about how Botrocetin's used as a research tool to understand the clotting cascade.
Yeah.
Can you give us some specific examples of how scientists are actually using it in the lab?
Yeah. So one area where Botrocetin's been super helpful is in studying von Willebrand disease, which is a bleeding disorder caused by deficiencies in or defects in the von Willebrand factor.
So the protein that Botrocetin interacts with.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so Botrocetin's ability to bind to that makes it a really good tool for studying all the different subtypes of the disease and understanding how these variations can affect the clotting process.
So it's kind of like they're using Botrocetin to pinpoint the weak links in the chain.
Exactly.
When that von Willebrand factor isn't working the way it should.
Exactly. And this knowledge can help researchers develop better diagnostic tests and even tailor treatment strategies for patients with von Willebrand disease.
That's amazing. So it's something that can trigger abnormal clotting. Can also be used to understand and address bleeding disorders.
Yeah, it really speaks to how complex and interconnected these biological systems are.
It really does challenge what we think about venom. And its potential.
Absolutely.
Are there any other research applications for Botrocetin?
Yeah, for sure. Botrocetin is also being used to study platelet function in other conditions like stroke and heart attack.
Which are both related to blood clots.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that they're looking into that.
Yeah, and in these conditions, understanding how platelets aggregate and form those clots is super important for developing those treatments.
So is it helping them understand not just the normal process,
Right.
but also what goes wrong
Exactly.
when someone is sick.
It's a powerful tool for both basic research
Yeah.
and for clinical applications.
This whole deep dives really opened my eyes to this whole world of venom research.
Yeah.
It's clear that botrocetin is more than just a dangerous toxin.
Mhm.
It's a valuable tool
Yeah.
that could improve human health.
And we're really just at the beginning.
Yeah.
There's still so much more to learn about botrocetin and its implications.
So we talked earlier about botrocetin being used to maybe inspire new anticoagulant drugs.
Right.
Can you give some specifics on that research?
Yeah, so one really promising area of research is focusing on developing these small molecules
Good.
that mimic the binding site of botrocetin on von Willebrand factor.
So these would essentially compete with botrocetin
Exactly.
and prevent it from binding and triggering that whole cascade.
Precisely. It's like designing this little molecular decoy
Okay.
that intercepts botrocetin before it can cause any trouble.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Are any of those in clinical trials yet?
It's still pretty early, but several research groups are making good progress.
Okay.
Some of these small molecules have actually shown some promising results in these preclinical studies, where they block botrocetin-induced platelet aggregation in vitro and in vivo.
So they're showing it's working in the lab and in animals.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's a positive sign, but there's still a long way to go
Mm-hmm.
before these drugs can actually be tested in people.
Right. Bringing any new drug to market takes a really long time.
Exactly. There's rigorous testing involved to make sure it's both safe and effective.
But it's encouraging to know that things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Are there any other approaches that they're looking into?
Yeah, absolutely. So another strategy that researchers are exploring is targeting the interaction between the von Willebrand factor and the platelet receptor itself.
So instead of focusing on botrocetin,
Right.
they're looking at what happens after it binds.
Exactly. So the goal here is to develop drugs that interfere with that signal
Okay.
that tells the platelets to aggregate, effectively shutting down that clotting process at a later stage.
So it's kind of like cutting off the communication lines
Yeah, great analogy.
between the von Willebrand factor and the platelets.
Exactly. And this approach could be really beneficial for patients with certain types of von Willebrand disease,
Okay.
where that defect lies in the interaction between the factor and the receptor.
So it's more of a targeted approach then.
Exactly.
To help those specific patients.
Precisely. And this highlights the potential for botrocetin research
Yeah.
to lead to personalized medicine, where treatments are really tailored to the individual patient's needs.
It's incredible how this one little molecule from viper venom
Right.
can open up so many possibilities for research
It really is.
and therapies.
It's a testament to the power of scientific inquiry
Mm.
and how interconnected nature is.
Yeah.
And it really underscores how important it is to invest in this basic research.
Right.
Even on topics that might seem a little obscure, kind of esoteric at first.
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been amazing, and I really can't wait to see what the future holds for all this research on botrocetin.
Yeah, me too. I think we're only just starting to understand the full potential of this molecule.
It's amazing to think that something that's like a weapon in viper venom
Right.
could actually be used to heal people.
It is. Nature really often surprises us with how ingenious it is
Yeah.
and its paradoxical offerings.
I'm starting to think that, any venomous creature
Mhm.
is a pharmacy just waiting for us.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge amount of untapped potential in nature.
Yeah, and with all these discoveries, I think we really get a deeper appreciation for how we're all connected.
Absolutely. It's this humbling reminder that we're all part of this larger web of life.
Mm-hmm.
And even those creatures that might seem really dangerous
Right.
can actually offer us these valuable insights and,
Yeah.
and even potential solutions to the challenges that we face.
So we've gone from this fearsome world of viper venom to this, dance of the clotting cascade,
Yeah.
and all the way to talking about life-saving treatments.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
But I feel like we're not done yet.
Yeah.
There's got to be more to this whole botrocetin thing.
You're absolutely right. We've been focusing on how it works
Mm-hmm.
and its potential applications.
Right.
But there's a whole other layer we haven't talked about yet.
Huh.
We need to consider the ethical considerations,
Yeah.
the potential risks, and really what it means to use these venom-derived compounds for therapeutic purposes.
That's an important point. I mean, we can't get caught up in the excitement of these new discoveries
Yeah.
without thinking about, what could go wrong.
Exactly. With any new technology
Right.
or therapeutic approach, there's always a need to really think it through carefully
Hmm.
and develop things responsibly.
I'm definitely interested in exploring those aspects of Botrocetin research.
Yeah.
But for now, I think, our listeners could probably use a little break
Okay.
to process all of this.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back to continue this deep dive, and we'll talk about all these ethical considerations and what Botrocetin could mean as a therapeutic agent.
Mm.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Botrocetin.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been on a real journey here.
We have from a viper venom protein affecting blood clotting to how it works and then all the way to possible new medicines. It's been a lot.
It really has, and as we kind of wrap up, I think it's important to talk about like the bigger picture of this research.
Right.
You mentioned ethics, and I think it'd be good to explore that a little more.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the things we need to think about when using venom in medicine?
Yeah, that's a really important question, and it's something that scientists and ethicists are always thinking about. One concern is, where does the venom come from?
Right.
Getting venom from these animals can be tough and even dangerous,
Yeah.
both for the people and the animals.
So we need to make sure we're getting it ethically and sustainably.
Absolutely, and researchers are working on making things better, less stressful for the animals. Some are trying less invasive venom milking. Others are even trying to just, make the venom in the lab.
That's good to hear. It sounds like people really care about animal welfare, which is important.
Oh, it's essential. We have to be responsible.
Yeah.
Another thing to think about is, are there any unintended consequences?
Right.
I mean, venom is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Putting it in the body always has some risk.
So it's not just about does it work, it's is it safe?
Exactly. We need a lot of testing
Right.
to find any side effects and, make sure it's okay for people.
Yeah.
Scientists are also trying to, tweak the venom
Mhm.
to make it more precise, less likely to cause harm.
It's a real balancing act.
It is, we have to use this power, but also be careful.
Yeah.
And that's something that, everyone in research is taking very seriously.
This has been quite the deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from Botrocetin to blood clotting and now to the ethics of it all.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how these toxins can be both scary and then lead to something new.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And as we finish up here, I feel this sense of like wonder, like there's so much more to learn.
There is.
Botrocetin's just this one tiny thing in nature, but it's opened my eyes to
Yeah.
how much we don't know.
It really has.
Who knows what else is out there?
Exactly.
Like in snakes, spiders, maybe even just in little bugs
Yeah.
that could lead to new medicines.
It's really exciting.
I think the future of medicine
Yeah.
might be in some really weird places.
It probably is. We just have to keep looking.
So to everyone listening,
Mm-hmm.
keep exploring, keep asking questions,
Yeah.
and never stop being amazed by nature.
Nature is full of surprises.
There's a whole world out there just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay curious.